All right, Algebra 2. Oh my, we are back. We're doing the Chapter 7 Summative Assessment Review. So, as you may be aware of, in the past, I've broken up these in a couple of videos, and I'm going to do the same thing here. This first video is going to be numbers 1 through 4, just the graphing stuff, and then the other two will follow suit, and I will introduce those as I get to them. So we are going to do number 1 right now. Away we go. We want to graph, we want to plot it on the coordinate plane, then we want to state the domain, the range, and the asymptote. Now for the domain and range, we are going to use interval notation. But first, we need to go ahead and plot some values for x and y, so here we go. I'm going to try to pick some nice, easy numbers. Our graph here is y equals 3x minus 1, if you didn't catch that at the top. I'm going to start with 3, I think. Oh boy. There we go. If I plug in 3 minus 1 is 2, 3 squared is 9, so y is 9. Now I'm going to pick 2. 2 minus 1 is 1, 3 to the first is 3. Now I'm going to pick 1. That's an easy one. 1 minus 1 is 0, 3 to the 0 is 1. Now I'm going to pick 0. 0 minus 1 is negative 1, 3 to the minus first is 1/3. And maybe I'll throw another one on here real quick. I'll throw a negative 1 on there. You don't have to do that, but I'm going to just to help me kind of graph. And I'll get 1/9 when I do that. All right, so now I got to scroll up and start plotting these points. There we go. So first we got 3, 9. 3 up 9, right about there or so. Then we got 2, 3, which is right there. Then we got 1, 1, easy point right there. Then we got 0, 1/3. Just do your best on this one. I'm going to say it lives right about there. And negative 1 and 1/9, that's even closer. I'm going to say it lives somewhere down there. So just do your best, connect all your points. Again, I claim to not be an artist. So our graph will look something like that. Now you may be able to spot right away an asymptote. It's going to be at y equals 0. But first we need to state the domain. In interval notation, it's all real numbers. The way we represent that in interval notation is negative infinity to infinity. Again, parentheses because infinity is not a number. Range, once again, interval notation. We have that asymptote, so we have to use parentheses. We can't use a square bracket in this case. So our lowest we can go is 0 without ever actually touching 0. And then we go to infinity. Now our asymptote, we just say y equals 0. And there we go. That's number 1 done. On to number 2. Here we have a fraction. Don't let that fraction fool you. Let me scroll down so we can start plotting some values. Again, I'm going to try to pick relatively nice numbers. But with that fraction, it might be a little bit difficult for you. I'm going to pick 0 first. So 0 plus 1 is 1. 1/4 to the first is 1/4, or 0.25. 0.25 minus 2 is negative 1.75, or negative 1 3/4, if you will. Then I'm going to pick negative 1. Negative 1 plus 1, 0. 1/4 to the 0th is 1. 1 minus 2 is negative 1. Then I'm going to pick negative 2. I'm going to get 2 out. And that's supposed to be a 3, negative 3. And you should get 14 when you do that. If you don't believe me, Google it or use your calculator. Here we go. Pardon me. 0, negative 1.75. Somewhere right down there. Negative 1, right there. Negative 2, 2, right here. Come on. Negative 3, 14, right up here. There we go. So connect your dots, draw your graph. We have another asymptote to deal with. It's that dotted line right there. Domain, once again, all real numbers. So negative infinity to positive infinity. Range, our asymptote this time is at -2. So you go -2 to infinity. And then our asymptote here, y equals -2. So that's numbers 1 and 2, all graphed up. Now we go on to number 3 and number 4. These are your logarithms. These ones are going to be a little bit trickier. For number 3, use a calculator, okay? So I'm going to try to just pick random numbers here. I'm going to do 0, 1, 2, and 3. Again, use a calculator for the natural log. It's just going to be easier for you. So when you plug in 0, you get -1. When you plug in 1 into your function, you get -0.307. When you plug in 2, you get 0.099. When you plug in 3, you get 0.386. And that's supposed to be a minus right there. There we go. Cool. So that's what I got when I plugged in those numbers. Again, I'm just using a calculator. It's just going to be easier. Let's plot up these points. 0, -1 right here. 1, -0.307. It's going to be right about there. 2, positive 0.099, excuse me. It's going to be like right there. And then 3, and then 0.386. So right about there. So I'm going to go ahead and connect these dots. And you may need to use like Desmos or something to help you graph to kind of see the rest of this graph, how it looks, or use a graphing calculator if they gave you a graphing calculator link for online. Our domain, once again, using interval notation. This time I have an asymptote right there at -1. So my domain is at -1 to infinity. My range this time can be any y value. So in other words, all real numbers, -infinity to positive infinity. My asymptote, like I said, is at x equals -1. Now, number 4, log base 2 of x minus 1 plus 4. Here we want to pick some relatively smart numbers. Remember what smart numbers are. So let's focus on this chunk first. This will give us a point right here and right here. This -1 means I need to move to the right one and up 4. This guy tells me that x tells me that I'm going to have an asymptote at x equals 1. So putting that all together, I'm going to go ahead and put that there, x equals 1. I go over 1, up 4. There's my first 0.24. Boom. Just like that. Now, here's where those smart numbers come into play. One smart number I'm going to pick is 3. Why 3? Let's do 3 minus 1. 2. 2 to what power is 2? It's the first power. So really, what I've got here is 1 plus 4, which would give me 5. So 3, 5 is my second point. Now I'm going to pick another smart number, 5. 5 minus 1 is 4. 2 to what power is 4? That's 2. 2 plus 4, 6. One more smart number, I'm going to pick 9. 9 minus 1, 8. 2 to what power is 8? 3. 3 plus 4, 7. Those are our nice numbers. If you want to use a calculator, you can, but you're going to get big, nasty decimals, and I don't know why you would want to do that. But, I mean, I won't stop you. So 3, 5, 5, 6. Now, 9 doesn't live on my graph, so I'm going to kind of eyeball it. Right there. So the graph looks like this. I already said that there's an asymptote at x equals 1. I still agree with that. Because there's an asymptote right at x equals 1, my domain is from 1 to infinity. in my range is all real numbers. Negative infinity, positive infinity. So that is number 1 through 4. Those are the graphing ones, and I'll label it as such in the video. You should probably be able to tell that from the title of this video. But anyway, stay tuned for the next 2 videos. They'll be coming to you shortly.